Oops. Do that. Yay. Why do you want me to start the engine? I don't want to start the engine. I will get out of my tractor. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Hi, dear. It is the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and we are here with me, Osa, playing Farming Simulator 22 on Maypole Farm. And you will see there are some trees chopped down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we chopped down 5 trees. We've gone for the cheap option. I have the in-game log forks for the Deutz. Can't use them on the Massey Ferguson because its arms don't really have the reach to get over the spiky things here. We are using the Platinum Edition logging trailer though. I went for the 2x3 foot format. Let's go down to logging equipment. So forestry equipment, we have all of the Platinum Edition stuff. So we picked this one. You can do extensions 2x3 meter, 3x2.5, and 2x4. I figured the 2x3 and then we'll load 6 meter logs onto it was probably the best option for us. We don't have any other logging equipment at this point. I'm going to run these down to the sawmill, which is a little bit of a drive, but the sun's come up. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on a very snowy January, and we're just going to drive across this guy's crop because there's not enough room to get into our little tree area at the top there. Now the farm has 130,000 money. I'm not sure what we did last month to get that. New vehicles, that's the log forks. We did purchase a lot of land. We did make a ton of money from bales, 34,000 from milk, and 5,000 from bread, and another 14,000 from probably, I would guess, environmental score. Our oat field is planted and growing and looks very nice with frost on the crop. But that's all we added herbicide, we added fertilizer, so that's all looking good. We've got 2 other fields that we have to work with. One of them, all we did was pick up the stones and spread slurry. Not a full amount of slurry, just enough to take the edge off when we get round to planting a crop and fertilizing it properly. Big green tractor coming through. Now, one thing I'm not sure about is, do the hedges stop trees? It's an interesting question which I haven't tested yet. We may get to a point where we expand our logging operations, but as is traditional for our Saturday show, we tend to start out small and with the cheapest equipment possible. So logging fork on a front loader and a small logging trailer and a chainsaw. I do believe there's the logging mill over there. We are here. That's the sawmill, yeah. this is where Disturbed Stimulations has his Maypole farm. But, and we do have a bit of a change up of what's going on today. There's been a fair amount of snow here in sort of mid-Michigan, and the result of that is this looks like a good place to deliver some wood. Mrs. Osa had an appointment earlier this week, or on Friday, so she decided she'd clean the church on the way home from that. So she doesn't have to go out and clean the church today. That was $4,800. We're not going to make a lot of money from logging operations. I think, as with anything, the money is to be made in productions. If we bought the mill, we would make... What does it make? I don't know. It's 100,000. But if we bought the mill, then we would make significant money from boards and planks and stuff like that. Or we could turn it into furniture and make an absolute ton of money. But again, the problem with the furniture is it produces about the same rate as our bread place. Long hauling, yes, we are still on Maypole. I am down in the southernmost edge. Oh my goodness, the tracks just went away. But yes, last week I bought an arable field and a small crop of trees, which didn't cost us too much money, from the proceeds of all of the silage bales we made last year. And so kind of the plan is we're going to chop down the trees now, at least some of them. I can get probably 5 or 6 loads on the back of the trailer, or 5 or 6 trees on the back of the trailer, should I say. We are leasing this trailer, so I am going to try and keep usage of it to a minimum. So as soon as we get back to our little copse of trees, we will shut down the tractor and leave the trailer just not racking up hours. But it's the middle of winter and really we have no arable work to do. Probably don't have much in the way of contracts either. Yeah, a couple of cultivating contracts. Now eventually we might buy a big area like that one and get a little bit more serious in forestry, but for right now I think chopping down a couple of dozen trees will work out for us. Yeah, that's, I mean, unless you're watching Disturbed Simulations Maypole series on YouTube, you will not be very familiar with where the sawmill is, because I've never been down there. This is obviously the first time. We've got a nice big John Deere to haul around stuff. This is now our big tractor. We've got wheel weights. I'm not sure I put wide tyres on it. I put tyres from a manufacturer that tends to run wider wheels, but not wide, their version of wide tyres. Unfortunately, because the Platinum Edition came out this week, obviously everyone and their brother are doing YouTube videos on Silver Run Forest, so we're definitely not going there, and everybody of course is doing wood chopping. So, well, it is what it is. Okay, let's try and... I've chopped the trees very close to the ground, so they should not be a problem for if I don't drive over them with wheels. So this around here, and I think if I put this over here, should be enough room for the Deutz to manoeuvre. Okay, we are back. And yes, I am, as I said, I'm not using any of the big forestry equipment. This is just a cheap logging operation. We'll chop everything down. Oops, well that fell a bit sideways. And we'll just load the wagon, oops, a couple of times. There we go. So, since I don't have Measure running, I did have a problem with Measure when it was first introduced on the mod hub. Looking at the mini map, we have the angle 354, we have the x-axis 430 and the y-axis 497. I'm cutting along the x-axis and I want 6 meter logs. We're at 430 right at the end of the log. So if I go 424, and cut there, that is now a 6 meter log. Now I lost count of where I was. That was 424. So we go 418. And then that's it. And we jump in here. These forks took me a little time to get used to how they work. If you remember back in Farm Sim 17 and Farm Sim 19, what we basically used to have to do was lift the forks in the air, tip them like that, and then grab the branches and hope they popped into the forks. This one, as I've said, physics seems to be a little bit improved in Farm Sim 22, and the logging physics is significantly better since the Platinum Edition. But basically, it's that easy. So we'll discuss the actual operation for the next log. I will drive over his fields again. I do have narrow tyres on the Deutz, so we're not killing crop doing that. And that turn was nowhere near sharp enough. And this tractor has enough weight to balance a 6 meter log. I don't know that I could go significantly heavier, but you'll see that fits just nicely in the length of the trailer. Lift it up, we back off, we don't hit anything. Yeah, with the snow we are skidding a little. Now I don't intend to remove the stumps until we get to planting. We do have a planter. There was a planter available on the store sales a couple of days ago. And I figured, well, we'll buy a forestry area and we will need to make use of it. So what you do is you point the front of the forks down a little, scoop up under the tree, tip the whole thing back, and then grab it. And I haven't missed a trunk yet, so although I could have put that more in the middle of the forks. because we're getting, oh, that's a tree stump. And again, I thought I was hitting the trailer. I'm not actually. And let's stop that there. Jump out and... oh, I can pick that up. Okay. Now, one of the things I have thought of, obviously, since we're just selling straight to the sawmill, there's no sort of wood length requirement that we're trying to obey or to meet. I have thought that you could probably use a small wood chipper. Unfortunately, I don't believe it was on the mod hub and then it dropped off. But there was the little old wood chipper that basically took the dregs of what was left of a tree and let you chip it up. I think we'll start from this end again. And so you could cut 6 meter lengths, put them in 20 meter containers. I haven't tested the containers on here, which is one of the reasons why I'm not using a container. I believe it's here. Containers, shipping container, you can have a 40 foot for 12 meter, 20 foot for 6, and a 30 foot for 9. And you can load those up with tree trunks. The thing is you want to try and keep all of your tree trunk the same size, or you lose a little bit of the maximum capacity. Basically, you've loaded a log in there, but it's technically not big enough. It's not big enough to fill the length of the container. So you lose some of the container capacity, and you take the container to a sell point. Oops, that was a bit close. And then you get paid all the money. I believe the 20 foot container is something like 70,000, 75,000. The 30 foot is 100,000 and the 40 foot's 125,000 if it's full to capacity. There we go. Nicely chopped up. So I don't think I chopped either of those up yet. Not to worry. But I might do a test run on this map with a container off camera just to see if you can sell a container at the sawmill. Okay, 478. So I'm going to go down to about 472. Get it to turn green. Turn green. Come on. There we go. 472, 466. And the bit at the end. But, yeah, this is something we've usually got into on every Saturday Farm Sim series. 463. Started off with the law folds where you could, you basically, you could cut all the trees down on the map, no matter where they were. Okay, that might be a little bit of a different length, but it is what it is. We'll get the tractor. We'll do the tractor. Actually, you know what? I could probably move that forward a little bit. Okay, you take care, long hauler. Yes, yes, that was the problem with measure. It was conflicting with something. I couldn't figure out what it was conflicting with, so I just stopped using it. And, you know, I didn't need to use it because I really wasn't doing much logging initially. But now that we've at least got the basic equipment here, I can now do logging during the winter when there's nothing else to do. We will obviously, as the farm expands, we'll have more stuff to do, and so I don't foresee us doing too much logging. Obviously at the moment we don't have a lot of other things to do, but I'm not averse to just skipping forward time as we need to in order to just get to the points where the farm is doing stuff and we are working on making more money. That's the log forks opened. Dude, drop out. There we go. And nice to see that that little trick works as well. If the log gets stuck on the forks, if you reverse enough that the logs tap the upright bars on the logging trailer, you can dislodge them. If you're using a flatbed, obviously you have issues with, well, the entire load can fall off the side of it, and there's nothing you can tap your log against in order to dislodge it. And I don't really want to disconnect the log fork from the loader arms, because in all likelihood what we'll end up with is the log forks trapped at the bottom of the trailer, and I might not be able to get them off. Anyway, oops. Move forward a little. Twist the joystick and it will do something. There we go. So Mrs. Ose has finished her last 3 quarterly CAT scan, and she's now going to twice a year for possibly the next 2 years. Which is obviously a little bit unfortunate, because this time of year, not the best to be driving 60-mile round trip to the hospital to get your CAT scan. I generally don't do poplar. I don't find wood chips pay well unless you can really produce them quickly. But we did manage to chop down every single tree on Lawfolds, I think, in Farm Sim 17 over the course of was it about 700 hours of play. But as I said, back on Farm Sim 17, you didn't have to buy the land. I did buy a small tree area in Oakfield Farm, which we chopped down once and replanted, but then when the game reset, I kind of didn't bother to redo it. Oh, that's the first miss. And yeah, you managed it. So definitely this log fork is a vast improvement on the in-game log forks that we had in 17 and 19. Both of those games I tended to prefer. Oh, what was it? It was the BioBelts LF 180, I think. And it's basically this format of log fork. It's got 2 upper arms and 2 lower arms. And it makes picking up logs so much more stable. Yes. Yeah, sometimes people did that. I think I did play Gold Crest when Farm Sim 17 first came out, mainly because well, it was that or Sosnovka, and I've messed that up entirely. Oh, maybe not. Okay, well, that's a little bit of fun, I guess. Put that in diagonally, I think. But with Gold Crest, I mean, I hadn't discovered people's YouTube channels at that time. The only reason I was playing Farming Simulator was because of World of Warships player called I.L. Gray, who sort of picked it up and decided to have a go and said, well, this seems like fun. And I thought, well, yeah, actually it does look like a bit of fun, so I'll give it a go. But finding other YouTube farm sim players at the time, I really wasn't doing that so much. Obviously discovered a lot of people since then. And that goes there, that. We'll cheat a little. We'll push that on just there. That's probably gone through the cab, knowing my luck. No, that's actually good. So, do I chop down everything at the end here? Probably. I'm not doing that one. It's a bit small. I'm thinking this one here probably we leave as part of the edge of the field. Well, actually that doesn't look like it's mine. Maybe we do. I'll think about it as we progress, but one of the things I could do is chop down this entire area, buy that field, and over the course of the next year just prepare this area as an extension to that field.